Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day and above all else, that you are indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Today, ladies and gentlemen, before I get into the topic of another fantastic, informative episode, I want to welcome back to the channel Bill Schuster, otherwise known as Bluebeard. How's it going, Bill?
Greetings, Armando. Doing well. Glad to be here. We're as we enter the second half of this decade.
There you go, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with running back through the 80s, and we are tackling the year 1985. Now, when you think back to 1985, what do I think about? Hair. Big hair. Poofy, mousse, hair gel, the works. Okay? VO5 hairspray. It, Vidal Sassoon, it was all there. Do you know what I mean? But there was also some really good music. All right. So what Bill and I have done is for each year of this decade, from 1980 to 1989, as I've said before, we have picked five songs, five top songs, plus two honorable mentions. So seven songs in total that we want to bring to you and talk about. And in doing so, maybe, bringing back some memories for you. I know it certainly brought back memories for me. What about you, Bill?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, without further ado, and because I was brought up right by my mama, I will pass the virtual mic over to Bill, who looks quite uncomfortable today. So he's trying to reposition himself in his seat. And he's going to give us his pick number five for 1985. Take it away, Bill.
All right. Thank you, sir. 1985. Well, we survived the year of George Orwell, 1984. Now we've moved on into the future.
Yeah, definitely.
1985. We're moving into the Live Aid era here. All right.
Oh, yeah. July 13th, 1985.
Now, this artist has nothing to do with Live Aid, though. This artist was busy living the diamond life in those days. That's right, it's Sade with Smooth Operator.
Mm,
First song that most of us heard from Sade, either the artist or the band, however you want to look at it. I remember my local, one of the two local rock stations when I lived in Denver, Colorado at the time, played four different tracks from this album in the midst of all the current rock stuff and classic rock stuff. We had some pretty cool stations back then, obviously. To
yeah,
hear Smooth Operator come on a rock station. Can you imagine that happening now?
wouldn't,
No, it wouldn't. So,
wouldn't ever.
hence why I don't listen to the radio anymore. But I digress. Sade really made her mark instantly with this song and this album. I mean, it just she was a breath of fresh air. The band was a breath of fresh air, but primarily her. She was the out front feature.
Yeah.
It was just this certain, I don't want to call it cocktail music, but because it's a little deeper than that.
I would dare call it sophistopop.
Yeah, that works. That fits.
Yeah, but I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's a better term. That's kind of that fits what I was going for.
I was just gonna say because her voice, oof, it's so silky and smooth and just like amazing. It was the total opposite of what was going on musically at that point, right? Uh, but that's a good one. That is a really good one. Oh my God. Um, my number five for 1985, ladies and gentlemen. I guess you call him a bit of a one-hit wonder. Till Tuesday with Voices Carry, featuring Amy Mann. Um, Amy Mann would go, on vocals and bass. she would go on to have a prolific solo career, although you really don't hear much about her in terms of her solo albums in the mainstream, which is quite unfortunate. But I just thought it was a really cleverly crafted rock pop track. And oh my God, that hair. We'll talk about hair. And her voice was unique. And even the lyrical content, the theme of this song, it's basically her partner is basically telling her to shut up and conform and just do what she's supposed to do. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. I'm
It's a
sorry.
disturbing song in a way. It's
Oh yeah, yeah. And even when you see the video, she tries to conform, but at the end of the video, they're in the movie theater and she just stands up and starts singing out the rest of the outro of the chorus. And her boyfriend's trying to get her to calm down, like, shut up, like, don't embarrass me. And she's just like, fuck this, I'm not taking this anymore. And she's just gonna speak her mind and say what she needs to say and what she wants to say. That's amazing.
yeah, her voice gets a lot more intense at that
Yeah, it
stage.
increases in volume and intensity through on the outro, and it's just to me, it was an unusual statement to make at that time, you know. Um, but yeah, I just thought it was an and looking through the list, I forgot about this. I'm like, ooh, okay, I can get into this. All right, look, pretty good. So yeah, was this Carrie from Till Tuesday, my number five pick.
It's a great song. I still find myself just randomly singing that song. I mean, or sometimes I'll just when I'm joking around with Stacy or something, I'll say, "Hush, hush, keep it down, voice is carried." Just, she knows what
Really?
I'm going for. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, great song, Amy Mann
And
till Tuesday.
and
I
of
dig
course,
it.
she, a couple of years later would show up on, Hold Your Fire from, by Rush,
Yeah,
on the
time
track
stands
Time
still.
Stand Still with incidental background vocals and in the choruses. And I think she added a little different dimension to that track in itself, like with her vocal delivery.
Absolutely.
I think she and Geddy Lee, collaborated beautifully on the vocals on that track. So yeah, I think she had a great voice for that. So yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay. You're number four.
Number four. Well, we are going to take a trip back in time a little bit here. Out on the road today, I saw a deadhead sticker on a Cadillac. A little voice inside my head said, "Don't look back. You can never look back." Boys of
Mm-mm-mm.
Summer, Don Henley. Yeah, wow. This is one of the examples of why Don Henley, despite being one of those classic douchebags we talk about, is such a brilliant singer and lyricist.
Yeah,
Uh, it's just really smart, a well written song, and his voice nails it as usual. It's that longing for a past that you can't go back to, but you keep the longing there anyway. It just won't go away.
yeah,
As we all get older, those of us who were around in those times and old enough to, be aware, yeah, these lyrics hit harder.
yeah.
So,
It's true.
the song has aged well. Well, a lot of Don Henley solo stuff has aged well, frankly, but some others not so much. But at his best, though, he was as good as anybody in the '80s.
Yeah, douchebag or not.
Yeah,
Yeah, good choice. And I'll just say this, with all due respect to the late Glenn Fry, he made a comment, a very disgusting comment on the in the Eagles documentary, how he and Don Henley, uh, if it wasn't for them and their solo careers, they were the only two that kept the Eagles name in the headlines. You know what? I prefer Don Henley's solo work over Glenn Fry's. hands down. Not even a contest, not even a distant 10th in
No.
terms of competition. So yeah,
In my younger days, early mid 80s, I probably would have argued that. But as time went on, especially by the time Into the Innocence came out in 89, it was all over. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Fried stood no chance against the stuff that Henley was bringing.
yeah,
Glenn was a lot more shallow. Don had so much more depth lyrically. So
yeah. And I just never thought he would get that petty in that
you're thinking of
documentary.
Tom.
Excuse me? Huh?
You're thinking of Tom. I mean, some of the Heartbreakers, have collaborated with Don Henley. In fact, so there you go. It
Yeah,
all
yeah,
fits
yeah. No,
together.
no, no, no. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I went over my bald head. There we go. But there you
If you had the
go.
big hair from those days, it wouldn't have gone over it.
I did have the hair. Won't tell you where it went. Okay, never mind. Uh,
Pictures, or it never happened.
no, it's. I'm not. Okay, we're gonna move on. Okay,
All right.
we're gonna move on.
What's your
No, it's a
number
good.
four?
It's a good choice. My number four. Thank you. My number four. Um, we're going with. Excuse me. Oh, heck of a list here. We're going back to Kool and the Gang with Misled. This is from their album Emergency that came out late 84, no, well, summer of 84, spring of 84. This was the first single that was released from the album. And on the first side of Emergency, you had the title track, which is fantastic, Fresh, Misled, and Cherish. So four singles off the bat from that album. Boom, 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 boom. This was them at their peak musically. Um, I just think that this song, it's lyrically, it's talking about being misled by a woman and by an opportunist that was going to take him on a dark road and that he couldn't come back from. But musically, yes, overproduced in some spots, you could say, like with the bass synths and all that. But you know what? It's funk, it's rock, it works. It's Cool in the Gang with Misled. And you can see the video for Misled on YouTube. Uh, with JT Taylor who having the big hair himself back in the day before he shaved it down. But no, I just think that and on the outro, on the ad libs, he hits the high notes. Whoo! I don't know if it's an F sharp, but meaty. No, I think it's a fantastic R&B rock track. Um, so yeah, that's my number four. Cool in the Gang with Misled.
You're definitely showing the love to Cool and the Gang in this series.
I love me some good funk.
Yeah, they definitely had an interesting career arc from those early, hard funk, largely instrumental days into the more pop leaning stuff later. It's good stuff all around, though.
Hey, JT Taylor is a fantastic vocalist, and I think he's underrated. He's got the good baritone delivery, but he's good in most ranges, the baritone, the mid range, and the high ranges. Excuse me, frog in my throat. There we go. But I just, yeah, a good funk song is a good funk song. So, your number three,
This one will be quick. Because my number three is Voices Carried by Till Tuesday.
what
So,
Armando said.
yeah,
Okay.
so I think we've pretty well discussed Amy Mann until Tuesday here. So, what's your number three?
My number three is Eurythmics. Would I lie to you? From Be Yourself Tonight, um, just a good track with a fantastic, catchy melody, good hook, great guitar work. This is where the duo kind of went to more of an organic sound with musicians, drummer Clem Burke, rest in peace, Clem Burke from Blondie. Nathan East on bass, fantastic session bass player. Uh, Use of horns, but just a good balls out rock track. Heavy rhythm guitar from Dave Stewart. A good catchy melody, a good catchy hook on the choruses, with Anya Lennox triple tracking herself on the choruses. Well crafted, and this is why I really took, uh, not that I took notice, but I noticed that this was, even at 15, I realized that this track was more live sounding in the studio than, say, Here Comes the Rain Again and, Sweet Dreams and Love is a Stranger, etc. So I just think this is a good slab or a good slice, sorry, of uh, perfection confection.
Yeah, I dig it. I think they were, in addition to being more organic, I agree exactly. I think they were also heading in a bit of an R&B direction, away from that, cold synth pop type vibe. And I mean, not even mentioning the fact that, of course, the Aretha Franklin duet, sisters are doing it for themselves, which finds itself also randomly in my head, much like Voices Carry does. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
And oh
I
yeah.
think overall, I prefer the earlier synth pop sound, but I don't think they could have stayed there. They would have just been stagnant and boring. Frankly, they would have probably been bored of themselves if they hadn't tried new territory.
And let's be honest here. I mean, there are bands out there, or or musical acts out there that are okay with staying within that one lane, but there are those bands that want to try different things and go into different territories. And if you're able to do it cleverly and come up with good songs, then why not? Why limit yourself?
Exactly.
So, oh, it's a
If
good.
fans come along, then they
Yeah,
do. If they don't, well, oops.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, your next one, good sir. Bluebeard. I love that beard,
Oh,
man. Smoking, smoking.
yes, I've officially become a member of the Blue Oyster Cult at last.
We still have to do that album ranking for me.
It'll be torturous ranking them, but yeah, that it would be fun.
Okay.
But the topic at hand, number two, 1985. This could have just as easily been number one. I like some of the stuff this band did after their fifth album here that this massive hit came from. But really, it's those first four albums where most of the gold is. However, this was like their one final absolute masterstroke of a song, a well deserved monster hit. It's I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner. Yeah,
Yeah.
they brought in the gospel choir and everything. And oh my God, apparently, yeah, it, the Eurythmics were not the only ones trying to branch out at this point in time and change their sound a bit. But man, it worked so well on this song. Lou
Yeah.
Graham's vocal on this just gut wrenching, just perfect. I was typical depressed teenager at this point in time. I was like 16, 17 when the song came out. Uh, and yeah, this song seemed to hit me where I lived, even though I was too young to truly grasp the full
Yeah.
depth of the song.
Yeah. True.
It hits a little differently now than it did then, but man, it's still just such a great song. And a lot of people hate on Foreigner's ballads, and this one in particular.
Oh, please.
But no, this is outstanding. One of the best power ballads ever, easily.
Yeah, and I do believe Tom Bailey from Thompson Twins contributes on this as well.
Wouldn't be the first time he was on Foreigner album, so
Yeah.
I don't know for certain, but yeah, it
I,
wouldn't surprise
I
me.
do remember his name being mentioned in connection with the song in terms of recording. But yeah, uh, good choice. Really good choice. really soulful track and heartfelt. It's a shame that Lou Graham and Mick Jones are having went into litigation as to who wrote what on the song. But anyways, my number two, Wham with Killer's Whisper, um, from Make It Big. You know, George Michael wrote this with Andrew Ridgely when George Michael was 17 years old. And this is a good slice of, I'd say, R&B pop. Just a fantastic use of sax on this. A very heartfelt vocal delivery. Beautiful guitar, acoustic guitar, I should say. Wonderful production on it. Very, to me, it's a very full and rich production with the percussion, with the drums and the bass. This was produced by George Michael, who started to come into his own in terms of a producer with the Wham material. I just think that it's a fantastic uh, piece of work, and it's funny because when this first came out, this was listed as Wham featuring George Michael.
Sign of things to come.
Yeah. And this is one of the only, I believe, the only song that he co-wrote with Andrew Ridgely. Or maybe, no, you know what it was? I'm mistaken. He wrote the song and he put Andrew Ridgely's name on it so that Andrew Ridgely
Royalties.
would get the royalties from it. And Freddie Mercury had said in an interview with Mike Reed from BBC Radio 1 in 1989 that he thought that this song was simply fantastic. And that he was pissed off that George Michael was able to do that duet with Aretha Franklin because he thought he could do it better. Um, so, but yes, I'm wonderful, aren't I? Yes, I am. And which is what he said in the interview. But no, I just think this song is just beautifully crafted. And it's with the strings and the horns and really heartfelt, even though it talks about him being a cheater. So
Yeah,
he'll,
that
he'll,
song really. Oh, go
he's,
ahead.
he's never going to dance again. You know, he's got too much guilty feeling. He's got no rhythm.
Guilty feet got no rhythm. Yeah,
But it's
that
easy to pretend he knows you're not a fool. Okay, so I mean, it's very heartfelt in terms of its delivery. I'm sorry, you were gonna say. Sorry.
um, one thing about the song. Well, it came real close to making my list too. It wanted to be here, but yeah, it didn't quite make it. So I'm glad that you mentioned it because it is a great song. But I was, mentioning being, 17 and not necessarily grasping deeper meanings of things. I kind of wonder, you said George wrote this at 17 himself. I kind of wonder, it's a very adult, I've lived and had experiences
That's
kind of song.
exactly it. I mean,
So
yeah.
I kind of wonder, did he fully grasp what he was even writing at that time?
Well, the lead off lyric, I feel so unsure as I take your hand and lead you to the dance floor. It's like, oh, like where are we going here with this? You know what I mean? So yeah, you got to wonder. So, but no, that's my number two. Wham with Careless Whisper.
Very nice. All right. Well, number one, this is the song that kept foreigner out of the top spot. It was close, but whenever I first made this list, I almost instantly knew what number one was going to be. I knew which song was going to rule the world. That's right. It's Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Tears
Smart
for
ass.
Fears. I, I mean, I've gone on record to saying my favorite Tears for Fears album is from 2004, not Songs from the Big Chair that this song's off, but I will say that this remains their single best song, period. No competition. it is a masterpiece. It's perfect pop, and
Yeah,
it's got all the bells and whistles. It's just great for singing along, and it's just it has this nostalgic melancholy feel to it, but it's somehow hopeful at the same time. It's just brilliant. It's hard to describe everything that's encapsulated in this short
yeah,
song.
yeah,
It's everything that's great about this band, all in a few minutes.
yeah, yeah. No, that's a good one. A little footnote. The original title for that song was "Everybody Wants to Go to War," and
Hopefully, we'll
that's
change things.
and that song started out with uh, two notes on the guitar or two chords on the guitar that Roland Orzabal was playing on an acoustic guitar, and he was in the studio and he was just strumming these two chords. And Chris Hughes, who was the drummer for Adam and the Ants, said, "What is that? What are you playing?" He says, "Oh no, it's just two. It's nothing. It's not." He says, "I like that. We're gonna, you know." So he kept playing it. So he took those two notes, those two chords, sorry, and Chris Hughes, and he got them onto a keyboard sampler, I guess, like an emulator. And then he built up a bit of a backing track to it, like a drum pattern. And um, Roland Orzabal didn't still wasn't convinced about that song being about it being a song. His wife Carolyn was in the studio. His late wife Carolyn, rest in peace, heard that, and she said to Chris Hughes, "I like that song." He's like, "Well, I like that piece of music." He's like, "Yeah, I do too. Tell your husband." Get him to record it. So they recorded it, and hmm, yeah,
Amazing how many stories there are like that
yeah,
with artists who are not capable of grasping some of their most potent work that becomes a huge hit despite their best effort to ignore it.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
No, definitely,
funny. Funny.
definitely. No, yeah. Anyways, my number one song, ladies and gentlemen, is "Tears for Fears" with Shout.
Oh,
Uh, Lays off songs from the Big Chair. I've said that this is my favorite Tears for Fears album, followed closely with a tie with "Everybody Loves a Happy Ending." Um, I've even done an episode, is this Prague? You know, because to me, Tears for Fears have always been a thinking man's pop band, the total antithesis of what Wham were at the time. And there's that famous story about when Shout or Everybody Wants to Rule the World went to number one, and George Michael and Andrew Ridgely sent them a bottle of champagne. They sent it back to them because they didn't want to have anything to do with them. Um, Shout started out as a drum pattern on a drum machine in Roland Orzabal's living room, and it just built up from there. And the lead off lyric, you know, shout, shout. These are the things I can do without. It's and this song is never more relevant as it is right now. Won't go into it, but it's just basically saying, don't take everything that's fed to you as the gospel. Question it. If you feel the need to question something, then something is wrong. Follow your instinct and question what like speak up about it. And this is what this song is about. And yes, the chorus is repetitive, but it's an earworm and it gets to you and the song does build and build and build as it goes along. And near the end of the track, on the final section of the track, Chris Hughes comes in live on the drums. Not Manny Elias, who is in the band at this point. Chris Hughes goes in and just knocks the shit out of that drum pattern and just and builds and builds and gives it more punch and more flow and more muscle to it. Amazing. And Christmas bass work on it. Forget about it. Just an amazing piece of work. An amazing piece of work. And I've gone on record as saying that Songs from the Big Chair is a perfect album, and I'll die by that. I will. So my number one, long-winded, but yes, Shout from Tears for Fears.
I think this might be the first time in any of these kinds of shows that we have had the same number one artist, but a different pick by that same artist.
Exactly, exactly.
It's interesting.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. It's true. Okay, your first honorable mention. I can't even say that.
All right. This one is a bit more controversial because some people absolutely despise this song. Some people consider it the worst song of the 80s. Some even say the worst song of all time. Jefferson Airplane fans really hate this song. We built this city. Damn right. It's Starship with We Built This City, the city by the bay, San Francisco. That's right, folks.
Sorry.
Grace Slick is out here singing this big ass, gaudy number one pop song about San Francisco. Get over your lost hippie dreams of the airplane and deal with the fact that they continued to have success long after Paul and Marty and the guys were gone. It's a great song. I don't care. I didn't even like it all that much when it came out. It was just another song. But as the years have gone on, I've decided this is really a good song. It just has a bad rep.
Knee
There's a
deep in the
cheesiness to
hoopla.
it, uh, but it's catchy as hell. And
Yeah,
listen to the lyrics. It's actually it really is a love letter to the city of San Francisco. You know,
yeah, it's uplifting. Yeah,
so
okay.
yeah, Starship. We built this city is my first honorable mention.
And the album Knee Deep in the Hoopla, right? And this album would also feature the track Sarah
Yes, another very good
with
song.
Mickey Thomas on lead vocals. Yeah, yeah. All right. My first honorable mention, I'm going to do a switch out. We're going to go with Aretha Franklin with Who's Zooming Who. No deep meaning behind this track. This was considered to be from the album of the same name, signed to Arista. At this point, this album was considered to be her big comeback album, featuring songs like "Freeway of Love," the title track, "Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves," that also featured on as track one on side two. She also did a song with Peter Wolf from
Jay
Jay
Gotti.
Gall's band called Push on side two, which I liked. Very funky. But Who's Zooming Who, which ends off side one, it's basically her. She was talking to producers about how difficult it was for her as a single woman at that time because she uh, was married to an actor, Glenn Turman, who at that point would go on to be on A Different World, the Cosby spinoff. Uh, and she was talking to producers about how it's difficult. It was difficult for her to go meet men in clubs or go meet single men because of who she was, right? So, and how, and the song basically saying, how, you know, you meet these women, single women meet these guys in clubs, and they think that the guy thinks that he can get one over on her because she's a woman, she's vulnerable, she's meek, but she's got the tables turned on him basically and saying that I'm the one that's in control of you. So who's zooming who here? Right. But I just think the arrangement of the track is just beautiful. It's a beautiful pop, synth pop track, with the drums and stuff. It's just a good melodic piece of pop. And again, no hidden meaning behind it. I just think it's a great song. And this did end up on a mixtape that I got that my brother-in-law gave to me that he went to a Christmas party and uh, the DJ was mixing all the songs, and this came up on the tape, and it's just like I just love this song. I just think it's a great pop track, R&B pop track. So that's my first honorable mention. Your next one?
Okay. Yeah, I was actually going to mention earlier how each of us had separately uh, mentioned Aretha Franklin by name, and yet had not picked a song by her. Well, now
Yeah,
you have. So there we go.
yeah, yeah.
That's the
No,
third
it's
mention
true.
of Aretha Franklin on this episode.
True, true.
Right. My final honorable mention. This is the one that everybody runs. Everybody that knows me runs when it comes on if they think I'm going to sing it. It makes dogs hide, cower in fear.
Oh, okay, go on.
Because when I try to hit that note, and I can't do it so well anymore, probably, but
Maybe if you grabbed yourself. Okay.
take on me. When it gets into it's aha, take on me, of course, but
Of course.
when you get into the I'll be gone
In a
in
day or two,
another
yeah.
day. Yeah, I'm not even going to seriously attempt it here on the air. I don't want to break anybody's monitors or TV screens or anything. So.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
that's
this I actually watched the video for this yesterday for the first time in a long time, and there's a reason that video is legendary too. It's
the
very
animation, yeah.
innovative, yeah, and it's also a very touching story in the video too. Even though it's a little bit goofy, there's this weird little romance in there
Yeah.
between the woman in the cafe and this
Again, the
animated
cartoon.
character. Yeah, uh, yeah. The song though is great. Some people prefer um, "The Sun Always Shines on TV," which was their other somewhat of a hit on these shores. But yeah, this is obviously the one that most people remember them by if they're not hardcore Aha fans. Anybody that was alive then knows this song. Yeah. So Aha, take on me.
Good one, good one. And that was a re-release because the original release was in '84 and it bombed in their home country in Norway. And on the second, on the re-release, because they remixed it and made it more punchy, more poppy, um, it was a big hit. And that whole album, I mean, Hunting High and Low, I have it. I have the re-release, the reissue, like a triple disc with B-sides and stuff. The title track is amazing. It's beautiful, very eloquent, very poetic. But yeah, oh yeah, good slap of synth pop there. Take on me. And no, I couldn't reach that high note even when I was 15, just before puberty hit, man. I couldn't do it. My last honorable mention for 1985, ladies and gentlemen, a well, no, they're not a one-off band because they've had maybe I think about 3 or 4 albums. Power Station with Some Like It Hot. I'm talking about the full album version, not the truncated single version. I mean, Robert Palmer on vocals, John Taylor on bass, Andy Taylor on guitar, and the monster Tony Thompson from Chic on drums. If you have this track on on high volume, it'll blow your speakers out. He is a monster on those drums. Yes, they may be touched up in terms of reverb or whatever technique they use in the studio, but the drums make this track. Boom, right in your face. It's sonically so unique as to what even like Duran Duran had been doing at that point. The story goes the band were at a crossroads in terms of what they wanted to do. They had performed together at Live Aid in 1985, but at that point, the 5 members had decided to go off and do different solo projects. Nick Rhodes, Simon Le Bon, and
John Taylor,
Roger Taylor
Roger Taylor. There's so many Taylors.
would go off and do Arcadia and release The Red the Rose and in autumn of 1985. I believe it was November of 1985. But Andy Taylor and John Taylor would team up with Robert Palmer and Tony Thompson, and they wanted to do something more rocking, more I guess live, organic sounding, and they came up with "Some Like It Hot," the album. Well, from the album of self-titled "A Power Station," but this song is just heavy, it's grooving, fantastic bass work from John Taylor. And John Taylor wanted to do more of a guitar oriented kind of project because he felt that Andy Taylor had been underused and underutilized in Duran Duran. So I just think it's a grooving hell of a track. I heard on the radio on the way home from my workout a couple of weeks back. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. This is just heavy as all get out. I mean, okay, they would do a corny cover of Bang a Gong, Get It On, Bang a Gong, which would start off side two. But this track for me makes the album, self-titled from Power Station. So yeah, that's my second honorable mention for 1985.
Nice. I just had Robert Palmer, Sneak and Sally Through the Alley, Salem Shoes, and Hey Julia, the triple play there, come on my playlist on the way home this morning. Whole different era of Robert Palmer, obviously, but
Yeah,
this was a cool super group. It was an unexpected combination of parts that worked.
and it did work, and it's unfortunate that that Robert Palmer wanted to leave and go off and do his own stuff. He'd come out with Riptide in 1985 with with his hit singles.
Out well for him.
No,
First couple
it
albums
did,
anyway.
but I mean, I'm sure that the other three wanted him to continue in Power Station because I'm sure they saw it as a viable entity, as a band that could continue. So, but there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our top five hits plus two honorable mentions for 1985 for running back through the 80s. Please put down the comments below, down there, your uh, your top five hits for 1985. Could be even more than that. We'd like to get everybody involved and get some comments and get some opinions going out there. So for Bill Schuster, otherwise known as Bluebeard, I'm Armando Venditti signing off for now. Please do click like and subscribe and do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. And we've got more show ideas coming up and with Bill and with Jim Bricker and Ken Cheshire. Uh, and we'll get them to you as soon as we possibly can. All right. Please look after yourselves and one another, and we'll see you soon with more episodes. Bye for now.